Hey, hey, Facebook. How are you? Kylie, the author whisperer here. Here to whisper sweet nothings in your ear as I am wont to do on a regular basis. And as I hope you like to hear on a regular basis. But anyway, this is a topic that I've been exploring more and more. I think it's something that I didn't really give a name to, or I didn't really hang my hat on it as firmly as what I perhaps now do, or as firmly as I now am, I should say, and as I encourage others to, because really these are the sort of people that I truly enjoy working with, people who are working from that space of soul-aligned, heart-centered, all that kind of feel-good stuff. And of course, I still have my copywriting hat on, which tells me that if you can't sell this stuff, then it's not going to reach as many people. But I'm very much focusing on, I guess just, I wonder how long that'll last. I guess just how we can bring this into being, coming purely from the heart center. So what is this thing called heart-centered authoring? Now, of course, I am going to do this whole thing where I have to share it. Okay, yes. Okay, so it's funny because I think a lot of us write naturally from this place of being heart-centered when we're writing, when we're creating. Okay, let's see. Trying to, I guess, get our head around how you actually, how do you communicate from that place? Now, think about when you journal. If you journal, and if you don't journal, then think about if you were writing purely for yourself. Okay, because that's, I guess, in a lot of ways, that's what journaling is. Okay, sorry, I'm doing this again now. Okay. When you're writing just for yourself without thinking that anyone's even going to read it, it's quite a different experience than when you are writing a book with the intention of everyone and their dog reading it, because, if their dog's reading it, then you've really hit the big time. But no, it's a different experience than when you're writing something completely personal, that, you'll probably never read it again, let alone anybody else see it. Unless you have a really bad experience like I did, where my long ago ex did find my journal and read it, and there was stuff in there that he probably shouldn't have read. But anyway, I probably shouldn't have written it, but that's a whole different story. I'm not even going to go there because I really am talking about this heart-centered journaling. Okay, sorry, heart-centered authoring. If you can bring that level of authenticity. Now, it's really interesting that the word author has the word authenticity in it, because that is the key to heart-centered authoring. It's have a look at a couple of the most recent posts I've put up. I've really been exploring this. I've been writing it out in my own journaling. I've been writing it out in my own blog posts. Have a look at what I've said about these, but I'm going to explore it more now. How do you bring that into your book? So I guess it starts with, well, what are you going to write about that is at that level of authenticity, heart-centeredness? What could you write about like that? Like, what would someone want to even read that was at that level of authenticity? And the fact is that if you've got something powerful inside, something that is incredibly meaningful to you, that you want to share, there is bound to be an audience for what you share. The trick, and this is kind of the key, probably more than the trick, is to hold that authenticity through the whole experience. Because as we're writing a book, we start with that idea, and that idea can be quite pure and quite unadulterated. And as we go down the process of writing and we become more and more aware of the nakedness that we are allowing to happen, we start sort of just, I better just, censor that. I better just tidy that up a little bit. And by the time it gets to the finished product, it's actually a long way away from what that initial germ of an idea was. And that is what can happen when you lose the heart-centered aspect of it. So what I really encourage the people that I work with to do is to hold on to that heart-centered concept that got you excited in the first place, because that is actually the thing that's going to connect with your audience. It's the thing that's going to allow them to, of course, really see you how you are, but also to that level of connection won't come if you tidy it up. Now, I'm not talking about editing here. That is not what I'm talking about at all, although that's often where this happens. So it's not so much editing for grammatical correctness or using slightly different words to say the same thing or whatever. It's not that level of editing. It's the level of editing where you read it and go, oh shit, I can't say that. Ooh, I don't know. Oh, that feels a bit scary. Now, actually, and I have written about this for years, right since I published my first book and even before then, but that was when I first really kind of owned it. If you don't feel that feeling of fear when you're getting to the end of the book writing process, or during it, of course, but certainly at the end when you're like, okay, I'm about to hit publish on this, if you don't have that feeling of fear, and it may even be a little bit closer to a feeling of terror, then don't even bother publishing it. That's how much of a waste of time it is to do it when you don't have that. It means that you've tidied it up too much. It's kind of become neat and pretty, and it's lost its heart center. And it's acceptable, and it's boring, and it's mundane, and there's like 50,000 other things out there that are saying exactly the same thing, and you're just going to fit nicely into that category without making any waves or ruffling any feathers. So don't even go there. Don't even go there. So that's my probably number one key, is that feeling the fear is probably going to happen, and in fact should happen, and in fact should be a signpost that you're looking for. That's number one aspect of how you know if you're writing heart-centered. I mean, of course, the other way is that you feel it. You feel that this is something deep inside you that is an important message that you want to share, that you want to others to know about, but how you share that message, because deep inside you what it is and then the way you share it are usually two very different things. Have a think about when you're talking to, let's say, two different friends. Say you've got one friend who's very prim and proper and very upright and very, judgmental is probably the word I'm thinking of. And that friend's probably very judgmental of herself, because people like that are always hardest on themselves, but you can feel it. They're hard on everyone. That harshness that they point towards themselves is being pointed outwards as well. So imagine talking to that friend on one side, and then on the other, later on in the day or a different conversation, you're talking with another friend who's the opposite of that, who accepts you no matter what, and who you always feel you can be yourself with. Okay, so and then maybe throw in a couple of other people just for the exercise. Imagine you're talking to your boss, the person who's perhaps responsible for your income, and then you're talking to some random person who you don't even know. Each time you tell the story to all of these different people, it's going to be a different story. Okay, it's the same story, but it's going to sound quite different. And that is what I'm talking about when it's heart-centered or not. We do tend to censor ourselves depending on who our audience is. And of course, you kind of have to. I get that. But if you want to write a book that is totally authentic and totally coming from that place of what I call heart-centered authoring, then you need to write every single word as though you're writing to that friend without the non-judgmental friend. What we tend to do, of course, is perhaps we start writing that way, and that is we go over first pass, edit, second pass, edit. That's when we start having all these other people sort of sitting on our shoulders, going, and then we write as though we're writing to our judgmental friend. And all of the heart gets taken out of it. That's what I'm talking about. So really have a think about that when you are looking at or in the process of writing, or you're looking at the editing. Really sit with that and think, who's sitting on my shoulder? Or is it just me? Am I as bad as that judgmental friend? Am I, in fact, that judgmental person? Or am I writing it with a, completely like, here's me without a stitch of clothing on, standing naked for the world to see? And I can tell you, every time I've published a book, it has felt like that. There is probably the best analogy is standing naked on a stage or something. That horrible dream that, I guess I've often heard other people have had, and I know I've had once or twice in my life, where, you're walking around in public naked and no one else is. That's the feeling of publishing. So it is a little bit terrifying. It is a little bit or a lot bit exposing, but that's a good thing. If you don't feel like that, then guess what? Your book is not, it's not edgy enough to move anyone. People will connect with something when they can feel your vulnerability. It's not about the purpose is not to expose yourself. The purpose is to be authentic and to connect on that level. So that's what I'm going to encourage you to do with whatever writing you're doing at the moment. If you are writing, if you're in the middle of a book right now, or you're about to start one, or if you are in the editing phase, even more important, then what I am so going to encourage you to do is to really connect with the deeper message. And I've got lots of exercises around doing that that I work with when I work one-on-one with people. We go through a lot of these exercises because a lot of the time we're a bit disconnected from that place. If you are connected with what your real heart-centered message is, whatever that may be, on whatever, and your topic can be as mundane or as, what could we say, arbitrary or kind of mainstream, or like it could be something very I can't think of the right word, but like bricks and mortar or ordinary. None of those are the right word. The point is, finding the heart of it, bringing your authentic self to it is possible no matter what the topic is. Okay, so let's give an example. Let's say you're talking about, I can give my own example. You're talking about running a business. Now, that could be a very dry, very practical, sensible, step 1, here's step 2, step 3, step 4, and, off you go. That's not what I'm talking about. So you don't have to be writing about, something esoteric to have heart-centered authoring. You can be writing about something totally practical and down to earth, like running a business, which is what my first book was about, the Massage Therapist Success Manual. Of course, I'm writing about a massage therapy business, but it would apply to, it doesn't matter. The topic doesn't matter. If you bring your heart to it, if you bring your authentic experiences and you lay yourself bare in your book, then two things. Number one, you're going to get that feeling of terror when you go to publish, and it's not just because you're scared if your book's going to bomb or succeed. It's because you know you have totally exposed yourself and you have really let people see inside your heart. But number two, because of that, it's going to be a unique book that will connect with the right people. And that, at the end of the day, is kind of all that's important. Like otherwise, why are you doing it? Certainly, the people that I work with, this is the kind of thing we talk about. This is the reason that you're writing the book, is because you want to bring your personal, individual, unique wisdom and skills and your take on it, but you can't do that if you're not willing to completely go there yourself and stay there throughout the entire writing process and through the editing process. It is a challenge. It is an incredibly confronting experience, but it is also the most rewarding thing on so many levels. Certainly it's rewarding to the people who are going to read the book. It will be so much a richer experience for them. They will connect with you on so much of a deeper level, and they'll get your message. But probably the most thing it does is for you, because you, as you are writing it, you're connecting with it deeper and deeper. You're yourself, you're owning it more and more yourself, and then that comes into every aspect of your life. You go, okay, I've just written about this. I'm in the midst of writing this book, or I've just published this book, or that's who I am. And if it is true to your heart, then you become, you grow into that. You're not scared. You're like, I've published it in a book, so I'm not scared of owning it, walking around in my day-to-day life. And that is probably the biggest gift you can give yourself. So, that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. It's a gift to yourself. At the end of the day, it's a gift to yourself. Now, if you like the way that I kind of groove and some of this connects with you, and you feel like you would like to have some support, some mentoring, someone there to kind of guide you, inspire you, work with you, then I am offering spaces for my one-on-one coaching, which is where we sit down together virtually, obviously, because you could be anywhere in the world, which is a beautiful thing. And we talk about these kind of things, obviously very focused on where you're at in your authoring experience, how to connect with that heart-centered place, how to bring it into your writing, how to keep it in your writing, all of that kind of thing. So if you like the sound of that, I would love to share that with you and be that mentor and that coach with you. All you need to do is just message me, just send me a message on Facebook, and I will get back to you, and we can talk a little bit about how that would look. And I would love to support you on that journey. Okay, so don't forget, the world needs your story, so write now. Bye.